G'day viewers, Sep here. What I thought we'd do today is go through the formula I use to calculate the Caravan tyre pressures. So one of my viewers had commented on a previous video and asked, is 65 psi in your tyres normal? So that's why I thought I'll go through the calculation. The first thing we need to do is we need to gather some information before we jump down to the formula on how to calculate it. So the first thing we're going to need is to know is our ATM. So that's the weight of the van when you've got it fully packed, ready for your trip. You need your towable weight and you need your GTM. Now GTM, I'll just flip over here for a minute. GTM is gross trailer mass. And basically what it is the load or the weight on the tyres. Now to calculate that, what we need to do is we need the ATM, which is what you've weighed over your weighbridge. That's what your Caravan weighs fully loaded. It's not your compliance plate value. It is actually what you're actually weighing. So you've got your 2,500 in this case. So all these numbers are from my own Caravan and my own tyres off the Caravan. So in this case we've got 2,500 kilos, which is the ATM. We minus the towable weight, which in this case is 220, and that equals 2,280, and that's your GTM. So the GTM is basically the weight on your tyres, and then your towable weight is the weight on the car. So this is connected to your car. That's your towable weight there, which is sharing the load of the whole Caravan, and your tyres carry the other part of the load. So that's GTM. So back over here, we've got our tyre maximum pressure, PSI, 80, tyre load. Now, a lot of tyres have, or most of them should have, this information on the tyre itself. So we've got single axle, and it has a number or a value or rating of 120, and that equals 1,400 kilos. And then you've got dual axle, which is a rating of 116, which is 1,250 kilos. Now that's actually written on the tyre, these words and these numbers. And you can also refer to a chart that calculates these or tells you what the kilos are based on these number ratings, which all the tyres have got some sort of number rating on them. So the formula, this is what it is. It's your tyre pressure divided by your tyre load multiplied by your GTM divided by your number of tyres. So let's do the scenario, and we'll do this for a single axle and we'll do it for a dual axle using the same numbers except the weights. So tyre pressure, which is 80 psi, which is off your tyre as well, divided by your tyre load. So it's a single axle, our tyre load is 1,400 kilos, multiplied by your GTM, which in this case is 2,280 kilos, and divided by the number of tyres, which for your single axle is 2, and that equals 65 psi. And that's generally what I'd run in the tyres on our van. Sometimes 68, maybe 62 or 63, but it's always around that. That's cold inflation pressure. That's what I put in there. Now if we do a dual axle, we use the same scenario, 80 psi. Now the only difference is with this one is it's still divided by a tyre load, but we need to use 1,250 kilos because that's the dual axle number that you use. It's written on the tyre. So divided by 1,250 multiplied by 2,280, which is your GTM, divided by 4 this time, because you've got 4 tyres, which equals 36 psi in each tyre. Again, that's cold inflation pressure. Now, The general rule of thumb is adjust cold pressure. So you're going on your trip, it's the morning or whatever, you adjust your pressures, and let's, for example, use the one I do, 65 psi. So I've got 65 psi with Caravan tyres. Now, once you get on the highway and you start travelling, and you might travel for an hour or an hour and a half or 2 hours, whatever, at your 90 kilometres an hour or 80 or whatever you do, when you pull up, your tyres should be, well, once you check them again with your pressure gauge, your tyres should be between 4 and 6 psi higher than your cold pressure. So if it's higher than 6 psi, your pressures are too low. That means your tyre's getting too much flex, it's heating up, and of course once it heats up too much, there's some risk with that. Now if your pressure is lower than say 4, so it might be 66 or 67, then it's too high. So what that means is you need to let a bit of air out. And the only issue with that is you obviously will get a rough ride, or your van will get a bit of a rough ride inside it. So that's basically how it works. So if you've got any questions about it, just hit me up with them. But the other thing I'll let you know is G&S Chassis have got a calculator online. So you can put in Caravan tyre pressures, G&S Chassis, and they've got a calculator. But you will need that information I've just showed you, and you can just put that information into their calculator and it'll tell you what the PSI should be of your tyres. Now if you use the scenario I've just given you and you do that in their calculator, they'll come out exactly the numbers that I've given you if you use this formula. So that's just another way of doing it. It's quick and easy. If you want to do it that way, you just jump on the calculator and away you go. So thanks for watching, take it easy, and see you on the next one.